What's up, Instagram? Let's talk about some cool stuff. I am back home after an interesting and amazing holiday in Desolation Sound, which is pretty cool. And now I'm prepping for the 7th annual Biohacking Conference. I want to answer some questions for you about that and talk about it because it is September 17th to 19th in Orlando, where I hear it's still legal to hug people. And I just did the math. We're giving away more than $500,000 in prizes and swag at the conference. This is the biggest and best biohacking conference ever. Started with 100 people at a bar in San Francisco about 9 years ago. And I'm doing it every year until COVID screwed everything up, and still going strong. So if you're thinking about it, biohackingconference.com. Use code DAVE25 because you follow me here. You can get 25% off. They can save you up to $1,000 if you want to go VIP. Yazak, $500,000 in giveaways. So this is going to be cool. It's at a place where the hotel is very affordable. We'll let your kids in, depending on their age, for free or very just about free. If you want to make it a family vacation. So it's way more affordable than it was in LA. And the government in Florida doesn't seem like they're crazy like they are in LA right now. So maybe there's that. You want to ask me some questions here? I will answer questions whatever I can. There's Lisa from London in the evening. And let's see. Strebs Andy, newer to Upgrade Collective, crazy with the value I provide. Hey, thanks, man. The Upgrade Collective is my membership and mentorship group. And it calls every other week with me and every other non-week with me with our coaching staff, hundreds of questions answered and all that kind of stuff. Hey, there's Yogi MD, what's in the VIP plan. You get extra dinners, like kind of like almost like a wedding dinner with me, where it's a small curated group and we spend a lot of extra quality time and a lot of extra things for VIPs. Questions about the refund policy. Check out what you'll see in just that my team is going to be on. They'll answer some questions about that. There's a bunch of stuff. Depends on what, where, why, and how, and all that. All right. Julie, ask the team about that. Until next year. No, what we do is if you had a ticket for the last conference that got canceled 4 weeks before going live because of COVID, just reach out to the team because we're honoring your ticket for this year, even though there's no like legal or financial requirement to it. I just want to do what was right. So I'm basically funding you out of my own pocket, which is a good thing to do. Tyler, thoughts on Qualia Mind? Qualia Mind is a very broad spectrum nootropic. I'm a fan of Qualia. I've talked with the company lots of times, and I am actually an advisor to them. And so I'm very, I would say it's a very good formula. And if you want a broad spectrum thing, you don't mind taking multiple pills, it's a great thing to do. I like that stuff. DMT light therapy, best Lyme's tip. Well, almost everyone who has Lyme disease actually has toxic mold. So there's that. In fact, some of the people who are going to be at the biohacking conference in Florida are experts in this Lyme versus mold thing. You'll see my friend Ann Shippy, who's done a lot of work on that. She'll be there. We're going to have Dr. Marcela, Madera, who's doing functional medicine and very unique kinds of stem cells, along with Dr. Harry Adelson. Some people have treated things like that. And we're talking dozens and dozens of speakers. It's going to be pretty cool. Jim Quick will be there. You want to learn how to make your memory faster. He's an incredible guy and a dear friend. Cat Hoke is someone you probably don't know. There will be a community building experience, and a lot of us we're missing community right now because of COVID. What you're going to find with the experience that she walks us through is nothing short of transformative. I mean, I've seen grown men with tears in their eyes from 15 minutes of what she walks you through. So I think that's going to be a very special time. I'm actually very excited. I tried to get her to come in last year. She couldn't do it, but this year we made it work. Dr. David Rabin, who's an expert in psychedelics, who's been on the radio show a few times. Dr. Mercola, he just got really seriously attacked by the New York Times, where they pointed a finger at him because he does A/B testing extensively. A/B testing, in case you don't know, is you test to see what works and then do more of that. It's what everyone who has a web page does. But man, he does A/B testing. He's a bad businessman. So I was laughing about that. So he will be there, and he'll be talking about whatever he wants to talk about, uncensored. And I will have viewpoints there, things that maybe I don't agree with everything they say. Sometimes I'll have countering viewpoints. I've had vegans talk there before. So the idea is, how do we learn by listening to people who believe other than what we do? Because that's what scientists do, and that's what people who evolve do. And people who are stuck in halls of mirrors only listen to people just like them. And if what I said offends you and you have to unfollow me, like the button's right down there, you can totally do that because it's okay. Like if hearing that you should listen to other kinds of mindsets causes you emotional pain, it's like, get a therapist. Other things at the Biohacking Conference you're going to want to know about. How about the ability to do an EMF-free tent? You ever been in an environment with no EMFs? Well, we're going to have one for you. On-site clinic with IVs and quick subcutaneous injections of nutrients and things like NAD. Brain mapping from 40 years of Zen on site. So we can't do everyone there, but a lot of us are going to be able to get a full QEEG or other types of brain things. You can try some of the new tech from 40 years of Zen. Huge activation sessions from our Master U instructors. And the biggest ever tech hall. And my whole vision in bringing together this conference was, guys, we need to, it's not about like just knowing stuff. You can get stuff off of a search engine, not Google. Google doesn't tell you stuff anymore. Go to DuckDuckGo, but DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is a different site. But what you'll find is you can get a different experience. You get to like touch the stuff that goes on your brain, and you get to feel it and sense it and talk about it. Connolly Moon, this is the Biohacking Conference. Go to biohackingconference.com, use code DAVE25, save up to $1,000 if you want to go VIP, or about $400 off a normal ticket. And it is the biggest and best 3-day biohacking conference on the planet, the oldest one, and well, it's the one where you're going to hear the stuff you can't hear anywhere else, especially now. Starbaked Life says my stream is being cut off. I hope not. What did I say? Did I say Marcola? I was like, am my stream cut off? All right. I think we're okay. All right. The Hobbygram, is Upgrade Labs only in Canada? We need you in DC. All right. You guys want to hear some news? I don't think I'm supposed to say this. My team right now is just about to fill their pants because I'm telling you. We got our approval for the Upgrade Labs franchise. So if you go to upgradelabs.com, there's a little button at the top about franchising. Yeah, in 30 states now we're approved. The other ones will come very shortly. So there will be many, many, many Upgrade Labs across the U.S. In fact, there's already 2 down in L.A., and there will be many, many more. So Upgrade Labs is going to happen, and people who are interested in franchising Upgrade Labs, come to the conference, because we're going to have meetings there where you can learn about it. All right. We need one in Kentucky. What about Canada? Heck yeah. I think we're going to have heavy coverage in Ontario, and we've already got one in Victoria. I opened it a month ago by my house, Ohio. It'll happen. We got to get some franchisees there. So basically, this is a business opportunity. Live the wow. Upgrade Labs is a place where you can go and you can replace a lot of exercise in a very small amount of time, sometimes even without sweating. And with the leftover time, you can get younger and stronger and faster, including making your brain work better. So it's pretty cool. Gina, someone please tell me what he's talking about. Well, I only talk in all capital letters. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I'm talking about the Biohacking Conference, biohackingconference.com. And this is a 3-day event that's going to be pretty crazy. Do you guys know Vishen Lakhani from Mind Valley? Vishen's going to be there as well. And I think this is the first conference he's done live since the pandemic started. At least last time I talked to him, he was saying that. Other than maybe some of his own events. But Vishen is a dear friend. I was in his book. He's in my book. And there's such good things like that. I love these questions. Tulio Ronconi, do I give oleic acid to my animals? A little bit, not intentionally. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Looks like now that I'm doing Instagram Live, my wife wants to use the espresso machine. Is this true? Hey, you want to make some espresso, Lana? Go for it. All right, there we go. This is a rare cameo appearance from Dr. Lana. See her back there? She does this on rare occasions. This is like spotting like the rare albino zebra. I didn't see hippopotamus zebra. Anyway, give me a kiss real quick. Right. Mm-hmm. There, see, I actually am married. You guys are wondering. And she's not one of those made-up digital characters. Hey, Girl Hikes, are we talking fasting here? We can. I'm just here to answer questions. You guys probably read Fast This Way. And if you haven't done my fasting challenge, you can go to, I think it's ig-dave-asprey.com/fasting challenge. And magically, for free, I will spend 2 weeks teaching you how to fast. I've taught 70,000 people how to fast without being hungry. You don't have to buy the book either. It's just a gift. It's so cool. Hey, we've got someone from Croatia, which is awesome. And Lana, you're getting lots of marriage proposals from these people. I don't know what's going on there. Here we go. Bad Aura, your advice on the Balanced Blonde podcast is amazing. Only thing to help with your health issues. You're welcome. I'm so happy. Thank you. All right, Bakari, what would you say are the top 3 blue light blocking glasses companies? There's only one. It's called True Dark, and I'm the founder. I wrote the patents for it. And blue light blocking is bad during the day because if you block all blue light, you're missing a critical signal. But if you allow all of it through, it's not a problem. So you need partial during the day, and at night, blue blocking is not enough. And there's actually 4 spectrums of light and 2 other variables, and that's what we do with those glasses there. So truedark.com is very scientifically backed. I've got some neuroscience studies coming out, but just blocking blue light, that's what we did in the 90s. You can do better than that. All right, let's talk about Happy from Star Baked Life. There's actually going to be, the guys from Happy are going to be there. If you guys haven't seen this, this is a really cool piece of tech. You probably see me wearing a headband. I've done a podcast about it. It's very carefully shaped, subtle electromagnetic frequency fields measured from molecules. And this is not the kind of woo-woo quantum whatever. This is $40 million worth of technology with liquid helium measuring molecular resonance from non-covalent bonds. Wow, did I say that without stuttering? Yeah, I did. What's going on here is hardcore. We make the body experience the molecular vibration of molecules that actually vibrate. They don't all do that. So when you do it, you can get things like caffeine or nicotine or things that make you relax. And you can play that frequency, and it works. And it works on mice. So it's really cool stuff. You're going to get to hear from the founder and actually experience and touch and play with the tech at the Biohacking Conference. You're new to this? Biohackingconference.com. Use code DAVE25. That's a code I made just for this thing right here. Should be good to go. Ray Gasman, ivermectin. Yeah. Ivermectin. I have a sheep farm. I have 25 sheep. Guess what my sheep take? Yeah, they take ivermectin because it kills all sorts of parasites in sheep. So ivermectin is easily on hand. Now, if a human were to take ivermectin from any source,
What about that, Dave?
all this noise from the espresso gallery.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
The barista's movement.
Let's see, you do about 6 milligrams a day once a week for prophylactic, and you do 6 milligrams a day if you were dealing with a particular thing of concern that's very popular that shall not be named. All right. Amanda, do any of my supplements break a fast? That is a long answer. Fast This Way. If you go to fastthisway.com is the info for the book. The book has a whole chapter on which supplements break a fast, which ones don't. So it is all set in for you, but for that one, you got to get the book. All right, Connolly, because of me, you eat your last meal at 2 p.m. Amazing. It is totally crazy what happens if you just have your last meal in the middle of the afternoon. All of a sudden you sleep like crazy. It's amazing. LR 1996 is in Portuguese. Please, some of my books are in Portuguese now. It's really cool. Chris, do I have any thoughts or concerns about NES Health and their infoceuticals? I actually really like NES Health. Their stuff really works. I have one in one of my drawers here. I was going to wave around at you, but I don't know which drawer it's in. Hold on. Do I see it? It's probably somewhere. So, bye, love. What you'll find is, and I don't know if NES is going to be at the conference. I don't remember. What you'll find there is there's a lot of things you can do with electrical frequencies that change how the human body responds. And it is so cool. We didn't understand these very fine fluctuations. Like at 40 years of Zen, we use computer-driven electrical currents that go across the brain, not TDCS, but they go back and forth. But when you change the frequency, you can do all sorts of stuff in the brain that you wouldn't think of. Well, NES does some stuff like that. but not for the brain. They do it just for the body. So there's a whole electrical and magnetic system that you can tap into. There's going to be a panel at the Biohacking Conference where we talk specifically about technologies for mindfulness, where I have the leaders in the field on, and we're all going to get together and talk about, well, what are the things you can use to increase mindfulness? Like, what would that look like? Is it magnetic, with things like happy? Is it neurofeedback, right? Is it, there'll be a brain tap will be there talking about flashing lights over the eyes and the ears with sounds. So I'll take you guys through the world of how do I make my brain do what I want it to do. Because I feel like I was, when I weighed 300 pounds, there's also like the angry voice in your head that never shuts up. And it's like, that person doesn't like me and I'm not good enough. I don't have that voice in my head anymore. Like, it's actually just not there. And yeah, it took a lot of neurofeedback and personal development and going to Nepal and Tibet and South America and meditation with all sorts of interesting people. But you can get there. And there is validity to things like NES health, and it totally is noticeably effective. STJ55, you've got the evening true dark glasses, deeper sleep. Yeah, I didn't wear mine. In fact, all right, I'm going to expose what a bad parent I am. I was 2 days ago at a place called Port Renfrew. It's got Botanical Beach. It's like a relatively well-known middle of nowhere place to go on the Pacific Island, or the Pacific Ocean side of Vancouver Island. And there was a TV and I couldn't turn the brightness down. And I'm like, hey kids, you've never seen The Simpsons. Let's watch some Simpsons. And it's like 9 o'clock at night and the TV is super bright. And I wasn't wearing my True Dark, the dark ones. I was wearing the yellow ones. I got 20 minutes of deep sleep for the first time, probably in 3 years. I had less than an hour. It's like, that was my fault. I needed the really dark glasses because I was like staring at the sun mounted up above the fireplace there. But we did watch a really cool episode about Homer Simpson and the NRA. It was great fun. So my kids are also walking around saying, dope. Tia, can Lyme disease trigger Bell's palsy? Yes, it can. Neurological inflammation is neurological inflammation. Rob's Highway, can I talk carnivore short term, please? Yeah. Turns out, if you go back when I first published the Bulletproof diet infographic about 10 years ago, it's like, here's the foods in the green zone. Go 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but even 2, and just eat only green zone foods. What is one of the number one green zone, Bulletproof zone foods? It is grass-fed meat. And it prioritizes beef and lamb above pork, which is above turkey, which is above duck, which is above chicken, for very specific reasons about linoleic acid. And then don't eat inflammatory vegetables, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to do carnivore diet for a month, I totally support it as being 100% compliant with Bulletproof diet. But the Bulletproof diet is cyclical ketogenic. And we'll talk about this at the Biohacking Conference. And this is the time where you can do like live Q&As with me or stop me in the hallway and I'll talk about it. And cyclical means you go in, you go out. My experience, after 10 years, people have lost more than 1 million pounds on the Bulletproof diet, hundreds of thousands of people interacting. If you go vegan, you'll feel good for a short period of time, and then it'll ruin your health. If you go keto, you'll feel good for a short period of time, and it'll ruin your health. I'm serious. If you go keto and you never stop, you're going to wake up 2 years later going, why is my hair thin? Why do I have high cortisol? And now I have low cortisol, and I don't feel so good. It's because you have to go in and out of keto. And once you get your weight where you want it to go, you want some ketones present, but you actually want to have some carbs present. Because guess what? Half the cells in your brain, the glial cells, they burn carbs way better than ketones. And your neurons, the ones that are the famous rock stars of your brain, they burn ketones better than carbs. So if you want to have both parts, the cleanup crew of your brain and the rock star neurons of your brain working, you might want to have some carbs before you go to bed a lot of the time, but not always. So I'll go a week with no carbs, 3 days no carbs, or I'll fast for a week, right? And I'm ketogenic. And I'll put MCT in my coffee and I'm ketogenic enough. But then at dinner, am I going to have some carbs? Yeah. Am I going to have 600 carbs of sugar? No. But so carnivore? Yeah, absolutely great. Do a carnivore cleanse. Great. Totally do it. Dave, you should create a book on how to create a bulletproof farm. Because I'm spending a lot of time today on Upgrade Labs and on the Upgrade Cafe here in Victoria. I raise most of the meat and most of the vegetables for the restaurant on my farm. I raise it with my family. It is a really, it's a big commitment to do something like that. I believe regenerative agriculture is just terribly important, including things like lighting. Did you know that 75% of the insects on Earth are gone just by weight over the last about 70 years? Since 1950, we've had a 75% decline in bugs. It is, I'm making these numbers up, but they're about right. 70% Dow Chemical and Monsanto's fault, because the government entities that test for pesticide safety, they only look at honeybees. They don't look at anything that lives in the soil. And there's millions of insects that live in the soil. They're all dying like craziness. And it's our fault because we have LED exterior lighting that bugs, it completely hijacks them so they don't have a circadian rhythm and they get all screwed up. They can't mate with each other. So you got to improve our outdoor lighting, which is something you do with, you need to look like you're a submarine or a whorehouse. Or maybe Dracula. So I have all red exterior lighting. No bugs are attracted. No eagles or owls are affected. I can still see the stars, and everyone is safe because there's still light. So we need to live in a red lit world at night because that's how it's supposed to be. Because that's what our biology insists on, whether we like it or not. And that'll save a lot of bugs. And don't spray for bugs anymore. It's not safe. You can use some baits for ants or whatever, but we're not spraying for plants ever again. We're going to stop that. And that's part of my 50-year plan. Since I'm going to live to at least 180, I got your back. And come to this biohacking conference, because 50 years from now, you'll be going to the 50th biohacking conference going, why am I younger than all my friends? Because you did what you learned at this one. That's how it's going to be. Let's see. Blue Writer, do I still use brain octane? I do. I'm about to switch to a new MCT oil that I'm personally coming out with because I am not working with Bulletproof anymore. That's a longer story you're going to hear about at the conference. Does our government give me problems for coming up with this stuff or lose your patents? Have I gotten in trouble for my views? Just curious. I'm actually a moderate when it comes to the vaccine. Guys, in fact, I'll tell you right now, I'm pro-vaccine. I'm just not vaccine promiscuous. So if you're vaccine promiscuous, you'll let anyone stick anything in you without actually standards, which is kind of gross. But would I possibly let someone stick something in me that had more benefit than risk that was fully disclosed? Yeah, I might. Like that tetanus vaccine I got that ran out, and then I actually got tetanus because it ran out. That was a mistake. Right? I should have probably got my tetanus shot. So is there all sorts of garbage in a lot of vaccines? Yeah. Should we be vaccinating our baby girls for HPV when the vaccine wears off before they could be sexually active, which would be a problem? No. That's just a marketing money grab thing. So to be for or against vaccines, like, hey, are you for or against drinking liquid? Well, you're like, do I get to pick what the liquid is? Because I'm against drinking Vaseline and I'm in favor of drinking water. So what's your position on liquids? Dude, I don't have a position on liquids. You tell me what the liquid is, and otherwise STFU. And I think that should be our perspective on things like that. But from vaccines, hey, that's where I am. So does government give me problems? Because I'm open-minded about this stuff, I probably get less problems than some. I have received warning letters because I once told people how to stop IL-6, one of the inflammatory cytokines responsible for a lot of the damage. I'm like, oh, we can block this. Here's medical studies showing all these herbs block it. And I got a warning letter saying I had to cancel that post. So I did, because that's all you can do, right? Do your best. All right. Peter Berry Music, you are welcome, my friend. Too bad Lana left. Don't forget the butter. Let me scroll down a bit, see what you guys have to say. My thoughts on butyric acid for gut health. You'll hear more about this at the Biohacking Conference. And guys, if you're just tuning in, I see a lot more people just joined. Thanks for joining in. Biohackingconference.com. Use code DAVE25 and get 25% off any of the tickets there. That's a savings greater than getting anywhere else. Butyric acid is a core part of the Bulletproof diet. In fact, it's why there was a global butter shortage in 2014 when I popularized putting grass-fed butter in coffee. Grass-fed butter, particularly cultured, is higher in butyric acid. I've got two studies that show you when you eat butyric acid, which is a short-chain fatty acid that turns ketogenic, it actually turns off inflammation in the brain. So eating it does something different than making it in your gut. And if you use a prebiotic fiber, like I talk about in Fast This Way, you can make it on board on your body. And it's critically important for cognitive function and cellular function in people with bad gut bacteria, like I used to have when I weighed 300 pounds. You don't make any butyric acid. So the idea is when you eat fiber, the body turns the fiber into a fat that provides energy for you in a ketogenic way, which is pretty cool. Oh, Cheryl Prothro. I love this question. Would I do the Claritin and Pepsid and ivermectin if I had that certain thing which shall not be named? That would be my plan. Absolutely. And some other things. And guys, if you listen to my other Instagram lives, I've talked about mast cells and how there's a funny thing when people have a reaction to a certain kind of injection that shall not be named, or a certain disease that shall not be named. That mast cells are things that make histamine that then triggers inflammation throughout the body. They make a whole bunch, about 200 other compounds that are not good for you. It turns out Claritin, the simple allergy medication, taken once in the morning, once at night, along with Pepcid, which is an H2 blocker, where Claritin is an H1 blocker, blocks a lot of the inflammatory stuff that could be a major, major issue. So if I was dealing with stuff like that, would I be on those things? Absolutely, I would. Should you do those things? Absolutely not. You should talk to your doctor, because only doctors are allowed to tell you what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I would do. Very, very different things. Ooh, Taters, vacationing in Spain, advice on jet lag, you're all upside down. All right, there is a chapter in Fast This Way, and because I've traveled the world for business many, many times, and jet lag was disabling for me, and I've got it down. I used to travel to London from California every 4 weeks for a week, which is hugely disruptive, flying east like that. If you get the True Light glasses, the very darkest tint we have, and you wear a baseball hat and noise canceling headphones, and you don't eat while you're in the air. If you need to, you can have Bulletproof coffee because the fat's okay, but don't have carbs and protein in the air. I can fly anywhere on the planet. Like, I flew to Dubai right before this thing. I did 0 jet lag. But if you take the glasses off for a minute, you get jet lag. You have to have these there. The primary timing system in the brain, the central timing thing, is controlled by light first and food second. You get those in order, you can actually become a morning person. I go to sleep at 10:20 to 10:30 at night now. My entire life, until I wrote Fast This Way, and a little bit before, for my work with True Dark, the company that makes the glasses. This is my company. I go to bed at 2:04 a.m. since I was 10 years old. And I shifted my circadian rhythm where I get tired and I go to bed naturally at 10:20. All you have to do is, for 2 weeks, use the glasses and food timing together, and you're like, oh my God, it's totally hackable. It's really neat. Those are the sort of things you learn about in the Master You classes at the Biohacking Conference. So go to biohackingconference.com and use code Dave25. I want to see you guys there. And there's something else. I'm seeing a couple of questions here. People are saying, Dave, what are you going to do about COVID safety and all this stuff at the conference? And it's really weird because, well, how does one plan a conference when you have no idea what the federal government or local governments or hotels or insurance companies are going to tell you to do? Because they change their recommendations about every week. They don't have a reason for changing them. It's like watching a school of those starlings or a flock of starlings fly around. They're just like, whoosh, but they have no central thought behind it. It's totally weird. So we're doing it in Florida instead of LA, because LA has proven to be the least reliable government in the US in terms of doing things rationally and communicating ahead of time. So there's that. And then we're going to Florida, but we're going to follow the rules in Florida, whatever they are at the time of the conference. Right. And I've had a couple people say, Dave, what are you going to be doing for temperature checks? And I thought about that. So we've hired a couple of veterinarians. So if you want a temperature check, we'll have free rectal temperature checks on the way in. If you want to do that, at least that's the plan. The plans may change. I don't want to. So there you go. No, I can tell you that aiming a gun-like device at someone's forehead does not make anyone safe. It never did. And if you drink a hot cup of coffee, or you come out of a sauna, or you drink an ice water, even if you have it, seriously, that's about making people feel safe. But no, it doesn't make you safe. So temperature checks are dumb. If you want to look at your Oura Ring data to see what your average temperature was, whether it's higher than normal the night before, that's good data. And that's useful data. And I would look at someone's Oura Ring, and if it's elevated by 1.5 degrees, I'd be like, oh, maybe you should chill out or something. But no, we're not going to do useless things that don't make a difference. But I will follow all of the regulations required there. So no comment about any other kinds of temperature checks there. I made everyone gulp. I'm not really going to have veterinarians there, but I'm telling you, no, we're not going to be doing temperature checks unless it's required by law, in which case we'll do it, but whatever. And if the hotel requires it, I have no change. But how much am I paying them for taking the temps? No, because I don't want to actually take anyone's temperature. I'm just telling you I'm not going to. But that's a good answer. If someone asks you for a temperature check, just turn around and be like, really? And then maybe they'll run away. That's what I like to do. All right. Design Love. What would I eat or drink after a fun 6-mile run? is there such a thing as a fun 6-mile run? Are you one of those people who's into like self-flagellation, or you're like, oh, this is so fun, I'm just gonna, cause some internal pain? Okay, I'm just kidding. I would be looking at electrolyte replacement as the most important thing, right? It also depends on your pace. You say fun, so I'm guessing it's not a strong pace. If it's, I'm pushing myself really hard, within a half hour, you do want to have some protein, because the protein is going to blunt a 48-hour cortisol spike that happens after intense exercise. But if you're in good shape and a 6-mile run is still fun for you, it's still some work, I would just go for electrolytes and water, and I'd look at my next meal. I wouldn't want to see you do a 6-mile run and then wait hours and hours and hours to eat. You can exercise during fasting. I just don't think it's worth it for most people, because fasting is a metabolic stress. It's like exercise for your cells. And if you're going to do an exercise like that, you might as well break your fast. So exercise at the end of a fast is generally the best practice. So at that point, I'd be like electrolytes and eat a meal with moderate protein and lots of veggies and very healthy fats. And if you're not doing keto, then have some carbs. Just don't have a lot of sugar and you'll be good to go. I'm going to do a couple more questions for you guys. And if you have any thoughts about the conference, Dave Rod, COVID crazies follow Dave, awaken these people, Dave. Here's the thing, Dave. There are lots of people, and they're not crazy. If you watch the news, you read the headlines for the Washington Post, there is something called fear porn. And it is a very conscious thing. There's two things that'll grab your brain. Actually, there's three things that'll grab your brain. These are at the core of all of my work, and these are all subcellular phenomena. You don't get to choose these because you're alive. Number one is fear. Anything that might be dangerous. You have to pay attention to it, and you have to run away from it, kill it, or hide from it. Those are wired in before you can think. Like 250 milliseconds, a quarter second before you can think, that is done. Right? It's the same party that makes you pull away from a hot stove that you touch accidentally before you can notice it's hot. That's what's going on there. And the news companies have figured this out because they do A/B testing. So second one is hunger. So you show someone a picture of juicy food and they're like, oh, food. And the third thing is actual pictures of naked people, porn. So these are the three things we can't look away from because we're animals, because we're alive. So what's fear porn then? Well, fear porn is when they go, oh, I'm going to make something that is so attractive with fear, like these headlines, like why we're all going to die. And then you read it, you're like, that's actually not what it is, but you're already hooked the same way you hook with porn. So fear porn is a movement that I started where you actually have little stickers that say fear porn on them. And you can put those on one of those warnings like you will die if you don't wear a seatbelt. The reality is that 40,000 people a year die, even though they wear seatbelts, from driving, but driving is totally worth it. So we're willing to take that risk. So when you use a fear porn sticker or just label something as fear porn, the part of your brain that goes, oh, scary, has to then look at it. But then the part of your brain that goes, oh, sexy, it has to look at it too. And now all of a sudden you're like, wait, which is it? And all of a sudden when the brain doesn't know which it is, it kicks out of automated mode and it puts it up into your thinking mode. And then your thinking mode goes, oh my God, I can't believe they tried to manipulate me. And then it laughs because that wasn't actually porn. Right? So anytime you see one that's like that, that's fear porn, and then you go, hee hee, and then you can think about it. So you don't have to react about it. So the people Dave, you're calling COVID crazies, no, they're actually reading what's out there. And some of the stuff that's out there is lies. Some of the stuff out there is real, and it's stated in a very scary way. And if you're not educated on this stuff, it looks pretty bad. The 0.26% overall death rate, that's a little bit higher than we like, but it's not 5% or 10%, which is how a lot of people are acting. And so there's a lot going on there, and it's becoming increasingly difficult even to know what's true and what's not true. And things like medical freedom and personal freedom are at risk right now. So there are people who just, they don't get it. There will be people there who are vaccinated. There will be at least one speaker who has had a vaccine and totally thinks you should do it, and he's going to tell you why. Right? And I'm going to listen to that. It doesn't mean I agree with it, but I'm going to listen to it. And maybe there's a reason, right? And it's okay. So I want us all to be non-tribal on this one, even though we are a tribe and we are a community. And the Upgrade Collective is, a large group of people where we work on this stuff together. And I can talk about my uncensored stuff there like I am with you today. I just, want you guys to know, you're going to hear stuff you probably don't agree with, and that's totally fine. Aura ring? Yep, there you go. Jody, I don't know, but people, all right, let me scroll down some more. Jody's my cousin there. All right. What are my thoughts on FDA wanting to ban NAC? I might be dead by then. I'm not going to be dead by then. I got 180 more years. All right. NAC is N-acetylcysteine. This is a common amino acid variant that's been around forever. It helps with lung problems, helps with asthma, and it helps with building glutathione in your liver, which is the primary detoxing pathway. You combine it with vitamin C and you get glutathione. And magically, in 1994, the pharmaceutical industry lobbied to get with the FDA or through the FDA to get all vitamins and minerals and supplements classified as drugs so that they would be under the control of the FDA and that they would be, sold by pharmaceutical companies, and you would be unable to purchase vitamin D even if it worked. It created the biggest rebellion we've had in the US, a lot more than the January 6th one, although it wasn't armed. It was many millions of people reaching out saying, you do that, you're out of office. The largest letter writing campaign in history, as far as I understand. And the DSHEA Act came out, which the Dietary Supplement something Act. And to this day, the reason that you can take vitamins that make you stronger, faster, smarter, and longer lived is because of the work of people who went to the Supreme Court twice about that. And it's going to take that kind of a thing to maintain our medical freedom now. So stand up for what you're allowed to do here. All right. And NAC is just one of those, let's chip away at it. Let's take these things that should be vitamins and make them into drugs, and then increase the cost by 10x and add artificial colors, flavorings, and sweeteners that mess with your brain. So when you take them, you'll need other drugs to deal with the migraine they give you. All right. Anthony says, I can't wait to sun my perineal area after this. That's a reference to my my butthole sunning post that got me on page 6 or the New York Post or whatever. That was a total joke. That wasn't real, guys. That wasn't real. All right. I want to have fun with you in Florida. I want you guys to come. It is going to be the biggest and best conference because we have enough room for all the tech stuff. So you can come and you can play with everything, and you'll get to see Upgrade Labs. You'll get to talk with monks like Panache Desai, and you'll get to talk. And when I say talk, like you're going to see Dr. McCullough wandering around the tech hall, like looking at stuff like a kid in a candy shop. You'll see me there doing that. A lot of people who have been on the show are going to be in attendance. So you want a time to see and hear from other people. Here's a question from Tulio about masturbation. Yeah, there will be a sex and relationship panel where we address the questions no one would ever ask, where it's going to be just, straight up, hey, this is the stuff you needed to know about, with people who know a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun, and there will be differing opinions, but I want to see you. I miss having in-person events. I miss being able to see people smile and talk and all of that. It's all going to be there. So if you're lacking that sense of community and connection, I will build it for you with a bunch of people who care about stuff the way that I do and the way that you do. Biohackingconference.com. Use code DAVE25 today. I can tell you there's exactly 20 VIP tickets left, at least at the beginning of this thing. So that's sold out. Once it's sold out, there's no more room at those dinners and the special events. You can get a brain scan from 40 Years of Zen. You'll be able to try on the glasses, see which ones look better for you. You'll be able to see some of the new tech that I'm coming out with that no one has seen before. You'll be able to try my new coffee, hint, hint. Which is not made by Bulletproof. So there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff there. So I cannot wait to see you. Biohackingconference.com, Dave25. I'll see you all there, and thanks for your good questions today.